Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our mission, as always, is simple. Cut through the noise, give you the knowledge you need, fast. So today's topic, it needs a bit of a weird question to kick things off. What if you were dying of thirst, right? But you were like swimming in an ocean of water, or maybe even worse. Imagine you're starving, painfully hungry, but you're locked inside this massive vault, and it's filled with millions of dollars worth of gourmet food.
Yeah, that sounds like some terrible cartoon, doesn't it?
Mm.
But honestly, that uncomfortable picture, it's actually a perfect, if maybe unsettling way to describe what's happening with metabolic health for, well, most people these days.
Okay, so we're diving into the shocking truth about our internal gas tank today. The core issue, based on what we've looked at, is this idea of energy failure at the cell level in an abundance of fuel. I mean, you've got the fuel, the cell just can't use it. It's like having a dozen fancy food trucks right outside your house.
Oh, yeah, smelling amazing.
Right, but someone's just slapped this like heavy-duty padlock on your front door.
Yeah.
You literally can't get to the energy.
And the consequences of that starvation at the cell level, they're not small things. We tend to think, oh, metabolic disease, struggling with weight. But that's really just the part you can see. The cells themselves, especially, nerve cells, they are literally dying because they can't get fuel, even though there's this massive overflow of glucose, of sugar, right there in the bloodstream.
Wow, and that directly leads to these, well, terrifying conditions we know, unfortunately, all too well. Type 2 diabetes, severe heart disease, kidney problems, and even what more and more people are starting to call type 3 diabetes, Alzheimer's.
Well,
your actual brain cells starving inside this vault full of fuel.
and the scope, when you really look at the numbers, it's genuinely staggering. I mean, we know about 25% of the population, 1 in 4 people, is already diagnosed with one of those big 3 chronic diseases.
1 in 4, okay. But the real, gut punch from the research we dug into, only 7%, just 7% of adults in the U.S. have what you call optimal metabolic numbers.
Just think about that for a second. 93% of us walking around with at least one red flag. High blood pressure, maybe high lipids, that visceral fat around the organs, fatty liver. 93% already have that padlock firmly installed on their internal kitchen door.
93%. Okay, that is deeply unsettling. So let's unpack the how. How did we manage this with all the food choices out there? How did we end up creating an energy crisis inside our own bodies?
Well, the root of it really starts down at the level of the mitochondria, those tiny power plants inside your cells. They start failing, losing their ability to work properly. But to get why they fail, you first have to understand the machine's normal limits, what it's designed for.
And this was the first fact that just, wow, blew my mind. Our whole circulatory system, all the blood in our body, it can only handle a tiny, tiny amount of sugar safely at any one time. How much are we actually talking about here?
So your normal blood sugar, it's kept in a really tight range, right? Around 70 to 90 milligrams per deciliter. When you do the math on the total volume of blood, it works out that your entire circulation can safely handle roughly 1 teaspoon. 1 tiny teaspoon of sugar. That's the design limit.
The teaspoon, seriously, that's nothing. I mean, you hear the average person eats, 31 teaspoons of added sugar a day? We're already flooding the system like 30 times over before we even get to the main issue.
It's terrible, yeah. And most people kind of know sugar's bad. But that 31 teaspoons, honestly, that's less than half the story. There's this hidden villain that just flies completely under the radar, refined starches.
And we're not talking about sweet potato here. We mean the industrial stuff, right? Modified food starch, modified cornstarch, maltodextrin, that kind of thing. The cheap fillers they use for texture.
Exactly. And here's the, almost darkly funny part. They aren't even sweet. They taste like nothing, basically. Bland, but metabolically. They hit your blood sugar harder than straight-up table sugar, cause these huge instant spikes.
So when you add those hidden starches into the mix, the average American gets another, 56 teaspoons of effective sugar fuel daily.
That's the number, which brings the grand total, on average, to 87 teaspoons of effective sugar per day. 87. So think about it. If your internal engine is built for this gentle trickle of, say, premium gasoline, you are just dumping straight diesel or maybe even jet fuel into the tank every single day. Rapid breakdown. It's pretty much guaranteed.
Okay, wow. Which I guess brings us to the unexpected twist you mentioned. The body actually has this super efficient way to protect itself, to survive this daily jet fuel bath.
Exactly right. That massive sugar overload, 86 teaspoons too much, it's basically toxic. Especially dangerous for the delicate lining of your arteries. So your body, quite brilliantly, kicks in a survival mechanism. It releases this specific hormone, and this hormone acts like a really powerful industrial-strength vacuum cleaner.
Wait a sec. So the hormone we usually blame for weight gain, for diabetes,
Yeah.
it's actually saving our lives.
Yeah.
In the short term, anyway. That vacuum cleaner. That's insulin, isn't it?
It is. Its number one job, its life-saving job right then, is immediate damage control. It sucks that toxic sugar out of the arteries, like instantly. And then it has to shove it somewhere. Shoves it into storage belly fat. Fat in the liver turns it into high triglycerides. It protects the arteries, yes, but only temporarily.
Right. But that protection, that action, that's what locks the cell door eventually, that trade-off. Wow, that's the kind of dramatic irony of the whole modern diet, isn't it?
It really is, because this constant, aggressive, protective action, it eventually wears out the mitochondria.
Yeah.
And it makes the cells kind of numb to the signal. They stop listening. That's insulin resistance. That's the padlock. And that's why this whole problem sneaks up on people for so long.
Okay, so that explains the diagnostic delay. You go for your checkup, your blood sugar looks fine, perfectly normal, for maybe 15, even 20 years. Why? Because behind the scenes, your pancreas is just working like crazy.
Absolutely flat out. Pumping out enormous amounts of insulin to keep vacuuming up that sugar, to hide the evidence, basically.
And the tragic part is that most standard tests aren't looking at fasting insulin levels. They wait until the pancreas is just exhausted, can't keep up anymore.
Exactly. And that's when your blood sugar finally spikes up past that 125 mark or whatever. And then you get the type 2 diabetes diagnosis. But the root problem was actively brewing, getting worse for decades, hidden by the body's own survival instinct.
Okay, so the shift we need, the goal, is really two things then. Cut way back on those refined carbs, obviously, and maybe just as importantly, eat less often. Aim for maybe 1 or 2 meals a day.
That's the strategy. Reduce the toxic load and give the system time to recover and reset between meals.
But how do you know it's working? Like, really working? What's the sign beyond just maybe losing weight?
The key indicator. The sign that you finally picked the lock on that cell door. More important than the number on the scale. It's your hunger. It's the ability to go from one meal to the next without being, so darn hungry. That desperate gnawing hunger, if you can comfortably go longer periods without eating, without feeling that way, it means your body has finally flipped the switch. It started burning its own stored fat for fuel, accessing the vault.
That's the goal. Your body finally feasting on its own private stash of energy. All right, so let's build the meal. The strategic meal designed to help this healing, help fix those mitochondria.
Yeah, we're not just aiming for a generic healthy plate here. This is eating for the energy factory. And the foundation. Should probably start with the salad base, specifically arugula.
Arugula? Why arugula? What's special about it?
It's a real powerhouse. It's super high in nitric oxide. That's this critical gas, really important for your blood vessels. People with high blood pressure are often low in it. Nitric oxide causes vasodilation, basically. It helps your arteries relax and open up.
Sounds like you're giving your whole circulatory system a nice, relaxing spa day.
Kinda. And it does more than that. It also brings crucial minerals. Magnesium and potassium. Both of those are absolutely essential. Mandatory, really, for the actual biochemical steps that create energy inside the mitochondria.
Okay, arugula base. Got it. What about dressing? Specific hacks there, too.
Definitely. We want real extra virgin olive oil, the good stuff, for the polyphenols. Good for blood pressure, too. And apple cider vinegar.
ACV, right. Heard good things about that.
Yeah, it's a proven helper. Improves blood sugar control, makes your cells more sensitive to insulin again. Oh, and we need to boost B vitamins. Those are like the spark plugs for the energy factory. Critically important. So add some unfortified nutritional yeast. Or even just sunflower seeds. Great source of B1, B2, B3.
Right, the spark plugs and potassium you mentioned, it's essential. We need a lot of it, right?
Yeah.
Like 4,700 milligrams a day. I remember reading it described as a physiological tranquilizer.
That's a great way to put it. Avocado is your friend here, packed with potassium. It helps calm your pulse, good for blood pressure, and it's essential for that whole sodium-potassium pump thing that makes nerves and muscles work right. Often people are told, cut salt for blood pressure. Maybe a better strategy is really bumping up the potassium instead.
Okay, arugula, EVOO, ACV, seeds, or nutritional yeast, avocado. Makes sense. Now, the protein, this part, genuinely threw me a bit when reviewing the source ideas. After all this focus on clean eating, greens, the recommended main protein is often a high-quality, grass-fed, grass-finished hamburger. Without the bun, obviously. But still, hamburger. Why? Doesn't red meat have baggage?
It does. It has a reputation, absolutely. But we have to look the physiology here, what the body actually needs in this situation. See, red meat, like a good hamburger or maybe ground lamb, it contains these unique compounds, things like carnosine, carnitine, and creatine. And they do one very specific, very important job when you're metabolically stuck.
Okay. Which is,
They are the specialist transport crew. They literally grab hold of fat molecules and physically carry them into the mitochondria to be burned for energy. High-quality red meat is rich in these shuttles, so it actually makes your energy factories more efficient at burning fat. And it even helps protect them against damage from carbs, arguably better than leaner proteins like chicken or most fish in this specific recovery context. Getting enough high-quality protein is just paramount for repairing tissues and getting that metabolism back online.
wow. Okay, that definitely goes against a lot of the usual advice. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And finally, dessert. There's dessert in this plan, the most unconventional recipe I think I've seen.
Yes, it's a yogurt, but
Yeah.
not just any yogurt. It's made from half and half.
High fat, okay.
Yeah, high-fat dairy base, and it's inoculated, cultured with a very specific beneficial microbe, Lactobacillus reuteri.
L. reuteri. So a specific probiotic strain used to culture this high-fat base. Why that bug?
It's pretty amazing stuff. Studies show it helps improve insulin sensitivity, it helps maintain muscle mass, and remarkably, it actually boosts oxytocin.
the love hormone, the bonding hormone.
That's the one. So it's like this fantastic trifecta, helps your metabolism, helps your muscles, and makes you feel more connected and social.
Yeah.
Good for mood, good for stress.
A social dessert. I like it. And you pair that with sugar-free dark chocolate.
Exactly. Dark chocolate brings more polyphenols, another nitric oxide boost, and crucially, you know how dark chocolate can be high in oxalates, which some people worry about? Well, it's also usually high in magnesium. And the magnesium we keep talking about, it acts like an antidote. It binds to the oxalates, so the whole dessert is kind of self-correcting in that sense.
That's clever. Okay, so beyond the strategic meal, there are a few key lifestyle things to really lock in the benefits, right? Keep that engine running smooth.
Absolutely mandatory, really. The single most important thing to do right after eating, a post-meal walk. Just 20 minutes. If you've got that metabolic resistance, your liver is probably still dumping sugar into your blood even if you ate zero carbs. It's called the dawn phenomenon. You need to physically burn off that excess sugar right away. A walk does wonders.
Right after the meal. Got it. Then getting outside. Sun exposure.
Crucial. Over half the sun's energy is infrared light. That penetrates deep into your tissues, like inches deep, and it directly stimulates and supports your mitochondria, helps them function better. So safe sun exposure is key. And then, of course, movement. Regular exercise, specifically things like resistance training, lifting weights, and maybe some high-intensity interval training, HIIT. Both are fantastic for rapidly improving your body's overall sensitivity to insulin.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But maybe the best piece of practical advice, and this is just pure behavior.
Yeah.
It loops right back to the villain. Those ultra-processed starches and sugars.
The simplest, most effective rule. Just don't buy it. Don't bring it into your house. Think about it. You only have to use your willpower once at the grocery store. Say no to putting it in the cart.
Yeah, because if you bring that stuff home,
Hmm?
that bag of chips, the cookies, you're setting yourself up to fight that craving every single night, right? When you're tired, sitting on the couch, and it's right there.
Exactly. Make the barrier to eating the junk food higher. Make it require effort, like going back out to the store. Don't make resisting it the hard part.
The cost of failing that one behavioral test at the store, it's just too high. It's what's keeping potentially 93% of people locked out of their own energy supply.
Precisely.
And just looping back, thinking about that initial problem, the energy failure. You mentioned that eating 87 teaspoons of effective sugar actually drains a key nutrient, something needed to even start the energy process, vitamin B1.
That's right, thiamine. That massive intake of refined carbs dramatically ramps up your body's need for B1. B1 is basically the spark plug. It's right at the entry gate to the mitochondria. If that spark plug is dirty or missing, you simply can't use the fuel. Doesn't matter how much fuel is floating around, the engine won't start.
So given that 93% of us are likely over-consuming the very stuff that drains this critical spark plug day after day, here's a thought to leave you with. If one tiny, often overlooked vitamin like B1 could be the difference between cellular starvation and having energy, what other simple hidden nutrient might be keeping that padlock firmly bolted on your internal kitchen door right now?